Long before the Gosforth Handyman channel existed, myself and Mrs. Mac have done a lot of property renovations, and I figured it would be fun to show you some of the past projects that we've worked on. And we're going to start with a fairly typical Victorian flat in Gosforth that needed a fair bit of work doing to it. Hiya folks, welcome back. I hope you're all very well and surviving the lockdown and everything else that's going on at the minute. I wanted to take you through some past property renovation work that I've done because I figured it would be kind of relevant to future videos that are going to come up on this channel. We've done a lot of renovation projects over the years, but we've kind of narrowed it down to 3 that I think would be quite interesting for you guys to have a look at. And this first one is of a very typical Tyneside flat in Gosforth, and this was actually our first move into Gosforth. Before that we lived in various other parts of the northeast. We were thinking of starting a family and we knew that Gosforth had really good schools, and we figured, well, we're going to try and get on the housing ladder in Gosforth, and the only way we could afford to do that was to buy a beat up old flat through auction. This was the first time we'd ever bought or sold through auction. We've done it several times since, and it's a really good and fast way of buying a property. But this area, it's really typical Tyneside terraced flats. So in each kind of house block you've got an upstairs flat and a downstairs flat. It's a very common way that properties are built, especially in the northeast, but all around the UK really. You get quite an interesting mix of houses and flats in this area of Gosforth, and you'll be going down a particular street and sometimes there'll be flats and sometimes there'll be houses, and sometimes they're flats that have been turned into houses, and they're built absolutely solidly. These are the sort of properties that when you're trying to drill into them with a normal kind of hammer drill, you realise how hard these bricks are that these have been built out of. They're solid. They've been sitting there for over 100 years, and they'll sit there for many hundreds of years to come. Anyway, in this video I'm going to show you the property that we ended up buying at auction. I'm going to give you a full tour of the property. I'm going to show you the plans of exactly what it looks like at the moment. And what I would like you to do, a little bit of a fun game here, I would like you to post in the comments what you would have done to this property. We'd kind of set ourselves a self-imposed budget of about £15,000 to renovate this property, so keep that at the back of your mind. My wife was heavily pregnant at the time, and I was also working a day job, so I couldn't work on the property full time. But as I take you through the property, have a think about what you would do and pop it in the comments below, and then in the next episode I'll show you what we actually ended up doing. So this was an upstairs technically a 3-bedroom flat that we bought, but it was kind of configured more as a 2-bedroom. I'll show you the plans in a little bit. So that's the entrance at street level there, and then you would come up the stairs to the flat basically. And bearing in mind, as I say, we bought the property at auction. We had a very brief look around it before buying it, and then we got the keys and it was ours. And when we came to the property for the first time, this is what it looked like. This is literally our first ever visit to the property, and it was minging. It literally looked lived in. In fact, it more or less was lived in, because basically the person who owned the property, their friend was staying in the flat, and even though the property owner had told his friend to move out, he hadn't moved out. So the first thing we had to do was basically tell them to sling the hook and get out of our house. That was a slightly nerve-wracking moment because, it's not what you want when you buy a property and you find out there's someone actually living in it. You can get a fairly decent idea of the calibre of person who was living in this flat as well. It was absolutely minging. And by the way, this is actually the master bedroom, and you can see it's got an okay kind of fireplace thing. This is a gas fire, and the person who was living here had been burning papers and wood on a gas fire. Unbelievable. So yeah, my first task was to boot this person out the house and change all the locks, obviously. We were left with most of their belongings and junk, and some of the stuff they took, but the vast majority we had to pay a house clearance company to get rid of. As you can see, it was all pretty much junk that was left there, not anything that anyone would want. So the first task really was just to get the property empty. So I'll quickly take you through from the start and I'll explain what the property consists of. So we've got the entrance hall there. You can't really see it, but the gas meter's at the top there, and there's a separate doorway to kind of give you a privacy door between the outside door and the inner flat. The kitchen, which would have originally been the third bedroom, was pretty disgusting really, as you can see. Hallway, so you can see kind of the top of the stairs just there, and then that's leading into the second bedroom straight ahead, and the master bedroom's just on the left there. Again, this is the second bedroom as we found it. The master bedroom is actually quite big. It's hard to get an appreciation from this. It had a, as I say, gas fire in it and whatnot. You'll get a better idea when you see the plans. You can just about make out the living room. So the living room leads through into what would have been the kitchen and bathroom, but they were kind of using the kitchen as like a utility thing. You can see the gas boiler there, and then that leads through into the bathroom at the back. Where that computer is at the minute would have originally been a fireplace, because that is a chimney breast there basically. And then we've got this funny cupboard thing on the right hand side. Again, I'll show you that on the plans. This is a kitchen leading into the bathroom, so you can see how there's a bathroom right at the back of the house on the kind of off-shot bit at the back. I'll show you that in a minute. Not much to talk about in the bathroom. Sash window that's completely falling to bits at the back there. For whatever reason, they had a wardrobe and bags of filthy clothes in the kitchen. And then we've got this stairwell here that leads out into the backyard. That'll make a bit more sense if I show you this picture here. So there is where the stairwell comes out, and you can, I don't know if you can just about see the stairs that are coming down. So the door that comes out the back of the house isn't at ground level. There's extra stairs that come out into the backyard itself. So that window at the top there is the bathroom window. Again, it's very common to have this kind of off-shot on the back of these terraced houses that originally probably would have led to an outside toilet at one point. So then, just to show you as well, once it was all cleared out and vaguely more livable, because we had to live in this place while renovating it. It wasn't as if we had another property to live on while we were doing the renovation work. You can kind of see that doorway there that leads into a cupboard in the living room. Again, I'll show you that on the plans. You can get a good appreciation here of the bathroom and the kitchen utility kind of area and the back stairwell there. This is just a shot looking into the actual kitchen, which would have been the third bedroom. As I say, pretty awful, but we had to make do, and it did the job until we managed to sort the place out. And again, just a shot looking down the hallway into the second bedroom. You can just about see the master bedroom on the left there. This is in the master bedroom. You can see nice picture rails, but that's not obviously an original fireplace there. It's a gas fire. That big original high skirting boards everywhere. This is in the second bedroom. Reasonable size room. It doesn't look that big on this photo, but you know, you could get a double bed in there comfortably. And then just another shot of the living room. I'll show you some plans of the place, and then you can get your brains working as to what you would do with this. So the front of the house, so the front street is at the top of this plan here. So the stairs that come up from street level come up here, come around this corner. You've got this little hallway here, and then you've got bedroom 1, master bedroom there, bedroom 2 there. You can kind of get an appreciation for how big this is. I mean, it's not massive, but you know, it's not tiny either. So the living room end to end's about 4 and a bit meters. The whole property is about 9 and a bit meters from front to back, and that doesn't include the offshot at the back here. You can see how the chimney breast is in this kind of diagonal nook here, and the gas fire that you saw in the pictures is on this side, and this side's just been blocked up. We've got this cupboard here that leads into the living room. Quite a big cupboard, actually. And then we've got this other pointless cupboard here, but it's got the consumer unit on this little back wall here that leads off the hallway, but it's barely big enough to put a hoover in. And then towards the back of the house, as I say, you've got living room, so you would come up through the hallway, through the living room to get into the bathroom at the back of the house there. We've got the kitchen over on this side. As I say, that would have been a third bedroom back in the day. And then right at the back of the house here, we've got this tiny little bathroom. We've got this stairwell coming back here. We've got the hot water boiler just on the wall over here. And then that leads into the backyard. I'll just show you a plan of the backyard as well, because that'll make a bit more sense. So here's the stairs that come out at the back of the house there. And I don't know if you can see that kind of green area there. I wanted to just show you that to indicate whether or not you could actually fit a car in the backyard to get some off-street parking. And clearly that's not possible. You can fit half a car in, but at the moment you've got these stairs taking up half the backyard. The backyard itself about 4.7 meters long by about 4 meters wide, so reasonable size. Here's the back of the property as well. So this big brick wall here is the back of the property, and that little gate there is the entrance into the backyard. So we're looking at this property here if you want to get an idea and you want to play along at home. And this just gives you an idea of kind of the street view out the back of the property, if that makes sense. One of the benefits of an upstairs flat as well is that you get the loft, obviously, and the lofts in these Tyneside flats are generally pretty big. Quite a small loft hatch, but you're into a pretty big space once you get up here. I'll show you on a plan in a second, but yeah, this is the loft as we found it. All the timbers and everything were absolutely fine. You can see a little bit of dampness there, but the timbers were fine. We got the roof repaired as soon as we moved in, and that dried out absolutely fine. You can see actual proper joints done on the roofing members as well, which is quite nice to see. All lath and plaster, which is just delightful. But again, you can see, you know, there's a good reason why these properties have survived 2 world wars. They're not going anywhere. They're built really, really well. So this is just to give you an idea of scale for the size of the loft, really. You've got a 6-foot human there standing, and, you know, it's nearly 10 metres from front to back. 3.2 metres to play with at the highest part of the loft. And this is just a plan view of the loft. You can see it's 6.3 metres wide, about 9.5 metres long. The loft hatch is that little grey box just there. I don't know if you can make it out. We've got 2 great big beams running all the way from the front of the house to the back of the house. They are supported by solid walls under the centre section there, and they're also bolted together. And you can just about see the chimney breast area at the back there as well. So hopefully that's enough to go on. These are fantastic renovation properties because, you know, they're not going anywhere. The sort of property that, you know, it's been standing there for 120 years or thereabouts. It's not going to fall down anytime soon, and loads of scope to do quite interesting stuff with them. So as I say, pop down in the comments below what you would do with a flat like this, bearing in mind heavily pregnant wife, first child on its way. So we're not aiming for a renovation suitable for like students or anything like that. We're more thinking from the perspective of maybe a young professional couple wanting to live there. What would you do? Let me know in the comments below, and yeah, all will be revealed next time. So if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit subscribe. Take care, folks. Tatty bye!